Rocky Mountain Airport.
Rocky Mountain Metro Airport.
There you go. Rocky Mountain Metro Airport. And all three Jeffco County Commissioners are here to give us a warm welcome to Jefferson County. Thank you, Andy Kerr, Leslie Dahlkemper, and Tracy Kraft-Tharp. Thank you for giving us a warm Jeffco welcome. We hope that some of you are able to stick around, and if members of the media want to, I think we're nearly completed. If you want to have a little tour of some of our new facility here, you're able to do that. Many of these operations were in Centennial before. We still operate out of Centennial, but I think it was 2 years ago we got the funding to make Rocky Mountain Metro Airport kind of the main fire operations hub, and that includes the basing of the Firehawk helicopter here in Jeffco. So we're very excited to do that, and we'll have more rapid response time. We continue to operate out of a number of airports across the entire state, from Grand Junction to Southern Colorado to Centennial, of course, to Rocky Mountain Metro Airport. This event is where we do the annual fire prediction. We assess where we are, update members of the public on fire readiness in Colorado. And I'm very proud to say we've never been more ready. Doesn't mean that fires won't come and could be devastating. But Colorado has really upped our game on fire preparation. We have more capabilities than ever before in the history of Colorado, and a high degree of confidence in being able to inform people of that. I want to thank Public Safety Director Stan Hilke, Division of Fire Prevention and Control Director Mike Morgan, Colorado State Forest Director Matt McCombs, our federal partners, the U.S. Forest Service and BLM. My little dog Gia is here. She apologizes for not being a Dalmatian, but she's nevertheless here to cheer us on in our fire prevention efforts. I want to thank everybody for their leadership and partnership. We know that in the face of a hotter, drier climate, we need to be more proactive, more mitigation, more capabilities, more intel and rapid response than ever before to keep Coloradans safe, our lives and our property. In the last 5 years, we've seen the 3 largest wildfires in the entire history of Colorado and the most destructive fire in the history of Colorado, the Marshall Fire, just a few miles from where we now stand. Future wildfires are not a question of if, it's just a question of when and where and what we're going to do about it. We've already experienced wildfires in our state this year, obviously coupled with the threat of high winds, particular risks. We know that fire mitigation, control, intel, more important than ever before. Working to prevent fires from starting in the first place, forest health, fire mitigation work, educating people about over 80% of fires are human caused, educating people about how to reduce the risk of fires in how we utilize our lands and how we live. We've created a statewide dispatch system to help our local first responders communicate quickly and effectively with shorter response times that save money by limiting fire spread and property damage. We have a new dispatch system. Our base is up in Windsor, and we're very excited to be bringing that online shortly as well. I also signed an executive order to support our state employees that serve as volunteer firefighters and first responders. They are able to take leave without using up their vacation time from their state jobs to be able to respond to fires as volunteer firefighters. I encourage private and sector employers to implement similar policies as well to make sure that those who want to put themselves at risk and serve as volunteer firefighters don't have to use up their vacation time to do that and can get additional time from their employers to do that. And we're proud to do that for Colorado's 32,000 person workforce. We're also working with the U.S. Forest Service and Colorado State Fire Chiefs on the Live Wildfire Ready public outreach campaign, which shows the steps we can all take to lower wildfire risk to homes and properties, checking areas close to homes and buildings, roofs and decks and gutters for materials that serve as fuel, removing branches that hang closest to roofs. Fire mitigation makes a real difference by reducing the amount of fuel for potential fires, protecting our lands, our homes, our communities. I would also add, in doing so, it helps reduce fire insurance rates for Colorado homeowners, which are simply a function of the risk calculated actuarially by the insurance companies. The lower the actual risk, the lower the property damages, the lower we all pay. So even homes that don't have fires, we all save money by taking the right steps by reducing our fire insurance rates. I know many Coloradans have seen hikes in those rates as a result of the Marshall fires and other recent fires events, but this is something we can do about it, and I hope that the actions that people take will help start moving those fire insurance rates the other direction down to save people money. With efforts like the Colorado Strategic Wildfire Action Program, crews around the state are cleaning brush and fire in high-risk areas. We announced an additional $6.5 million to continue that work. We've seen these efforts work, with flames stopping just short of communities and homes and businesses because of effective treatments. Colorado Climate Corps, which was recently selected as a founding partner to help shape the U.S. Climate Corps, is also taking a key part in key forest health and fire mitigation work across our state. We were able to meet with members of that corps last week, along with the Lieutenant Governor and AmeriCorps, being able to yet help people of all ages, particularly young people, get the skills that they need to prepare themselves careers, at the same time do real work today to reduce the wildfire risk for communities across the state. These are just a few of the many steps we're taking to be ready, because we never know when or where the next wildfire will be. Together, we'll push forward in our nation's leading work to prepare for and prevent wildfires. To discuss the projections for the next year, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety, Stan Hilke.
Thank you, Governor. Again, my name is Stan Hilke, Executive Director of the Department of Public Safety. It's interesting, and it's kind of hard to stand in front of you today when you have such a cool-looking backdrop behind me. But as I make my comments today, I just want to remind everybody, it is one element of a resource that we bring to bear in Colorado. The most important element of what we do and the most important resource that we bring are all the different personnel that occur in the state. When I talk about the things we do, and I use the term we a lot in my remarks today, I want to remind you that we means the state, what we do, but also our federal partners and our local partners. There's 375 fire departments in Colorado, made up of 14,000 local firefighters, and things we know always start local and they end local, and without that front line of defense, Colorado would not be as safe as it is. So I just want to say, for those of you that are in the audience, or those of you that are looking through cameras today, if you turn around and you see some of those people that are standing there in uniform, those are the people that really deserve our respect, and we're really grateful to them. The state and our partners are ready for 2024. The cooperation and the planning that we're doing has been very worthwhile. The national structure for combating wildland fire is a cooperative interagency system that involves all levels of government, local, state, and federal, and those agencies are all working well together. With our partners, we work year-round to mitigate, prevent, and suppress wildland fires before they threaten life or property, and when they do, we make sure that we do a good job of our initial attack and also in the recovery area. While these efforts aim to reduce wildland fire risk, we cannot control the weather, the snowpack or fuel conditions, the wind, or the humans that actually end up causing fires. So we need to be ready, and we need to the public's help in partnering in that regard. The spring fire outlook is normal for most of the state. You're going to hear that more from Mike Morgan, with elevated fire potential for southeast Colorado in the early part of this summer. That does not mean that there's not going to be any fires. We know that we can expect a similar year to the years that we've had the last couple of years across the state. But we do know that the potential for a catastrophic fire is always there, but we are far more ready than we ever used to be. The wind events are expected to drive much of our fire activity this year. If you were around here yesterday, the winds were at the airport were pretty strong, and they have been strong for the past several weeks. Individual preparedness, I cannot stress enough, and personal responsibility are the key to protecting the safety of people, homes, and communities, especially on those windy days. And we want to make sure that people know and understand that we need their help in that regard. On average, across the country, human-caused wildland fires, the humans cause about 90% of the wildland fires, and most of these fires can be prevented. Please take extra precautions before venturing out, and be careful with anything that could start a fire, whether you're working or recreating in our great state. Please take steps now to assure that you're ready for an event of a wildfire. Sign up for your local emergency alerts and have a plan in the event of evacuation. Please get a hold of your county systems, your city systems, to make sure that you're in the loop on the communication of what's going on. And finally, if you're feeling unsafe where you are, leave, evacuate, go on. If you hear a fire or see a fire that's near you and you haven't got that communication yet, and you're feeling uncomfortable, we do not recommend that you wait around. We want to make sure that you're comfortable and you can go ahead and self-evacuate if that's what you need to do. When fires do occur, please be aware and respect the local public safety area closures and evacuation notices. Monitor the local news channels and follow local fire and emergency services and social media for the updates that they push out. Our motto at the department is that we are safer together because we work together, and that we can reduce the danger to lives and property that are caused by wildfire. Finally, I just want to say it has been a moment of personal pride for me to work alongside so many people who have steadily and deliberately been transforming the fire service and how we do fire together with our partners. And again, this is where I want to emphasize the meaning of we. That means locals, state, federal partners, and our private partners as well. Our fire response for the people of the state of Colorado is better than ever, and today I can confidently say that we are faster, we are better, we are more efficient, we're more aggressive on initial attack, we are more preventative, we do more cooperation, we do more mitigation, and it's simply that we are smarter on fire than we've ever been. It's an example of good government, and it's one that we should all be proud of. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Morgan, the Fire Chief for the Division of Fire Prevention and Control. Mike?
Thank you, Director Hilke, and thank you, Governor. The division is pleased to present the 2024 Wildfire Preparedness Plan to the Governor and to the General Assembly. This plan includes information on the wildfire outlook and the state's plan for responding to wildfires in 2024. Looking back, historically, wildfire seasons were a 4-month event in the middle of the summer. Today, the average core wildfire season is 80 days longer than in the 70s, and Colorado has experienced large fires in every month of the year. We don't have a fire season anymore, we have a fire year. Consider this. 20 of the 20 largest wildfires in Colorado's history have occurred in the last 20 years. 4 of the top 5 largest fires occurred in 2018 and 2020. Drought conditions, hazardous fuel conditions, hot and dry windy weather can create conditions for fast-moving fires that could devastate the landscape and destroy our communities. But DFPC has developed and continues to fine-tune a strategy that allows us to be prepared for year-round and more destructive wildland fires by shifting our resources to a model that allows us to respond more effectively to what is no longer just a wildfire season. As Director Hilke said, that is in conjunction with the we. We have a stronger family, a stronger team from local government to our federal government that's working closer together than ever before. The Wildfire Preparedness Plan is part of a comprehensive year-round approach to wildfire management that includes mitigation activities, fuels and forest management, in addition to suppression and response. The plan is based on lessons learned from previous years and also implements new tools and capabilities as a result of the recommendations of the Colorado Fire Commission and support from the Governor's Office and the Colorado General Assembly. We will continue to coordinate with our local, state, and federal partners to leverage all of the available resources to increase our response capacity and our effectiveness. The fire outlook for this year, current forecasts indicate that it will be a normal fire potential expected across most of Colorado for the outlook period of April through July, except for southeast Colorado, some elevated conditions down there in the San Luis Valley. I also want to caution you that normal does not mean no fires. On an average year, firefighters will respond to about 5,500 wildfires in the state of Colorado. Yes, 5,500 in the state of Colorado that burn about 220,000 acres. That's an average year for fires in Colorado. Historically, that means periods of elevated fire potential in the lower elevations, especially along the east and front of the Front Range foothills in southeast Colorado and in the San Luis Valley during dry and windy conditions. Parts of Colorado will see increased wildfire potential through April. Southeast Colorado will see an increased chance of downslope wind events over the next couple of months. And it is important to note that while 2024 preseason outlooks do not indicate elevated fire potential early in the core fire season, wildfires will occur and large wildfires are still possible, especially during high wind events. Typically, elevated fire potential expands to the higher elevations in our mountain communities as the summer progresses. Overall, the precipitation and the increased evaporation due to the above normal temperatures largely offset each other, and we can expect drought conditions to remain the same as the spring green-up progresses. Periodic fire potential outlooks beyond July will be updated and released throughout the year. We do a snapshot, 120-day window of what our forecasts look like. The extended part of the summer, we're looking at potentially a lower than normal monsoonal, but it's too early to predict that right now. So I want to caution everybody that while we're looking at a normal or average year for the foreseeable 120-day future, there's a high potential of elevated risk going into the fall of next year. What may not be readily apparent with all of this is that firefighters across Colorado are locating and attacking new fires when they're very small, increasing our success in limiting fire size, duration, cost, and impact in areas where we don't want wildfire. This happens on almost a daily basis. Most of these fires, about 99% of them, are quickly extinguished and are not picked up by the news or social media. Thank you for what you do. For the purposes of this briefing, we are focusing on unwanted fire, where our strategy is early detection and aggressive initial attack. DFPC manages a contracted and state-owned aviation fleet along with ground support resources to support local fire departments and counties. This includes 2 Type 2 helicopters, 2 single-engine air tankers, 2 Pilatus PC-12 multi-mission aircraft equipped with multiple cameras, including infrared available for fire detection and mapping, 1 large air tanker, 7 engines, 6 modules, a total of over 170 firefighters and fire management staff. And behind me, you can see the much anticipated Firehawk. It's completing all of the final acceptance testing next week. We'll go into the final training processes, and we expect it to be operational in the next couple of weeks. The Firehawk is ideally suited for responding to wildfire in Colorado due to its ability to fly in Colorado's hot, high flight environment. Additionally, the flexibility of the Firehawk is one of its strongest assets, with the ability to fly anywhere in the state and arrive within 1 hour. A state-owned Firehawk will increase DFP's capacity to respond to wildfires on a year-round basis and set response priorities based upon Colorado's needs first. The state and the governor has authorized the purchase of a second Firehawk, which is scheduled to be delivered to us in 2025. We provide resources and support to fire departments and counties on the early stages of an incident so that quick, effective initial attack actions can be taken. The shorter the duration of the event, the less we feel the impact of that incident locally, regionally, statewide, and nationally. Our assistance to our local and federal partners includes providing DFPC aviation and ground resources, technical assistance from battalion chiefs and district chiefs, funding for federal interagency aviation and hand crew resources, training, fire investigation, and numerous public education and prevention activities. There are many areas in Colorado with considerable values at risk, and we don't want or can't afford to have fires in those locations. Our approach in these areas is early detection, rapid initial attack to limit the fire's size. We continue to emphasize a model of utilizing technology, including the multi-mission aircraft, the Fire Guard program, and cameras to detect new fires early when they're small so that decision makers and incident commanders can make timely, informed decisions on management actions in order to appropriate the appropriate resources. Fire is a concern for all communities across the state. We will need to be a part of the solution. We call on each and every one of you who live, work, and play in Colorado to help reduce the impact of fires by being vigilant, respecting fire restrictions when they are in place, and doing your part to protect your home and properties from the threat of wildfire. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Director Matt McComb with Colorado State Forest Service.
Thanks, Director Morgan, and thank you, Governor. My name is Matt McCombs. I'm the Director of the Colorado State Forest Service, and if you have the privilege of living in this great state, I'm your state forester. The Colorado State Forest Service is the lead forestry agency here in the state, and one of our primary duties is to help Coloradans reduce wildfire risks to their lives, homes, property, and communities. We approach this work with a great sense of urgency, acknowledging that a normal fire season in Colorado is an active fire season, and like the Governor said, it is not if but when. Coloradans must learn to live alongside wildfire. It's a part of nature in Colorado, but with drought and warmer temperatures and our fire risk was increasing, and while at the same time more Coloradans are moving into wildfire-prone areas. And under the right conditions, fires can have devastating consequences when they occur in this wildland-urban interface, especially when coupled with the extreme winds that we've been seeing. Investments at the state, federal, and local levels are making a huge difference in this regard. Over the past year, in combination with the furworm and co-swap programs that the governor mentioned, we've invested over $30 million to fund communities to reduce their wildfire risk and to provide outreach to residents to prepare for wildland fire. We've deployed resources through individuals with resources we've received through the bipartisan infrastructure law to help communities update or establish their community wildfire protection plans, and in doing so, thinking to be incorporative of watershed as well as utility and other values at risk that are typically outside of the traditional approach to community wildfire protection planning. We're ramping up the Live Wildfire Ready campaign. I hope you take an opportunity to visit the table back there and understand how we're trying to amplify the Wildfire Awareness Month campaign that's traditionally in May to extend the entire year, acknowledging it is not a fire season, it's a fire year. This is a project that has been funded by the state of Colorado, but within partnership with our friends at the U.S. Forest Service, the DFPC, and the Colorado State Fire Chiefs. You know, we continue to remove, and then in sort of the one-to-one community fashion, we continue to remove wildfire fuels around homes and communities and watersheds, thanks to the historic investments, the seminal investments that both the state and the federal government have made in mitigation. Reducing these fuels is the most effective way to lower our risk and to undermine the potential for large-scale destructive wildfires. We support, in particular though, residents doing their fair share and ensuring that they're doing their part in concert with communities, in concert with their neighbors, and hopefully sourcing through the variety of resources you have available to you, sourcing and understanding your risks so you know exactly what it is that you need to do in order to be prepared for the inevitable. And the best part is we know mitigation works. We have examples all across the state of Colorado where thoughtful mitigation activities affected substantially fire behavior and allowed firefighters a safe and effective opportunity to reduce the impacts. Mitigation works. I want to make sure and hammer that one home. And lastly, most importantly, all of this can only be done through a vast network of partners that participate at the local community level. Our NGOs, our wildfire councils, our conservation districts, our friends at Extension. Everyone is helping and coming together to push out this message and helping this idea of shared stewardship to come to life. Fire doesn't know boundaries, and therefore all jurisdictions and all residents need to be participants, active participants in the mitigation space, and act with the same sense of urgency that the Colorado State Forest Service foresters bring to their work every single day. We're trying to figure out every opportunity we can to build up our success acting together. And I want to highlight in particular with resources that the governor helped secure. We've expanded the Good Neighbor Authority, which is the State Forest Service coming forward and doing work in partnership on federal lands with our federal partners. We're leading the nation in Good Neighbor Authority and have deployed more resources than any other state in the West to ensure that we're taking every opportunity to act with that collective sense of urgency, acknowledging that things are going to be challenging, but together we have both the opportunity and a track record of success. So I look forward to each and every one of you doing your fair share and your part in helping Colorado be safer and get ready for the fire season to come. Thank you.
Happy to take some questions. I also want to acknowledge, by the way, we have two folks up here with me that this will be their last fire briefing with us because they are retiring. I want to thank for his great service to the state of Colorado, especially during the pandemic, Mike Willis. Thank you for your service to the state. We wish you a happy retirement. Also, U.S. Forest Service, thank you again for your service federally. How many years? 43 years. So, and I'm glad you're going to retire and stay here in Colorado. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you for your service. Any questions?
Yeah, this is for Chief Morgan. If you want to go to the mic, you were talking about the normal risk, but then you said that perhaps towards the end of the season or into next year. Can you just repeat that about the moisture and maybe going to elevated at some point?
Sure, and I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm gonna say it the way it makes sense to me, right? It is that the most reliable models that we have for forecasting weather are typically about 120 days. Those are the ones that we have pretty high confidence in the information we're getting. So when we look at that forecast, we see that we've had average snowpack. We see a little bit above normal temperature and a little bit below normal precipitation, which tells us we will probably have what would be a normal or an average fire season, which is about 5,500 fires, burning about 220,000 acres. As we look further out in the forecast, which becomes a little less reliable, we're not seeing a lot of confidence in the high monsoonal moistures that we normally see. Okay, so what that means in layman terms to me as a firefighter, what that means is we've got a lot of moisture for snowpack that's going to bring up a lot of fuels. The grasses and the lighter fuels will have a lot of growth with that going into the green up season and going into the summer months. What we rely on is those monsoonal moistures to keep those plants green through the rest of the summer year. That makes me a little nervous when we're not seeing the monsoon forecasts, and we already know that our forest health conditions are very challenged. So it creates an opportunity for an elevated fire season later in the year. Did that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you mentioned Southeast Colorado already high.
Yeah, and thank you, Governor. Southeast Colorado through the month of April, and we've experienced that, as you know, down in Pueblo County, Colorado Springs. We've had some large fires down there. Boggsville fire that we had a little earlier this year. So we're Southeast Colorado elevated, a little elevated. We've got some drought conditions that will continue there in a moderate level. We'll have some moderate drought conditions continue in the San Luis Valley, and then southwest and far west Colorado will have a little bit of drought conditions out there as well.
Yes.
Is there any relief about that Firehawk being ready to go? How will it start? Just start going out, or are you doing practice runs, or I'm just involved in work?
Sure, I'll let the team address that in a minute. I want to kind of give the big picture here. So historically, Colorado has relied on an interstate pool of aircraft, and we have on occasion contracted or leased for a period of time aircraft that we can control. The problem with that in this new normal is that we have experienced, and sadly we will experience, situations where the West is having issues, and there's fires in California and fires in New Mexico, and resources are deployed there, and there aren't any left for Colorado when we need them. So we made the decision a couple years ago, we need to control our own resources. We need to have the Firehawk helicopter. It's also been reported we're currently engaged in discussions to purchase additional 2 Type 2 helicopters because we need to be able to deploy these resources to fight fires in Colorado when we need them in real time. This helicopter can get anywhere in Colorado within about an hour. That's the kind of resources we need. We can't just rely on, sorry, there's a fire in California, we can't be there. And that's not an answer that's acceptable to the people of Colorado. For the specifics of the operations of what we can expect from the Firehawk, I'll turn it over to Chief Morgan.
Thank you, Governor. For a little bit of real quick background on it, of course, about in January, I believe it was around January, notified that there was a recall on the engine of this particular aircraft. So we worked with Lockheed Martin, with United Rotorcraft, with General Electric to expedite the repair of that. That was shipped out and repaired. It was received, I believe, April 10th that the engine was back and was reinstalled on the aircraft. United Rotorcraft worked over the weekend to get all the testing and all of the things done so we could get it up here today. We will start all of our final acceptance testing on that aircraft on Monday. Maybe even sooner than that, but it's ready to start that acceptance testing. We're going to start that as soon as we can. Once we get through that piece, we'll go into the training of all the pilots and the different things that take place with that. We anticipate about 2 weeks of training with the tank operations and all of that. And so we would anticipate that by May 10th, to the 15th, that aircraft will be ready to fight fires. There are a lot of missions. This is a multi-purpose aircraft. We will be bringing on our helitack crews, training our firefighters on the specific operations of the aircraft, going into that, but it will be functional while we're doing that. And then as we get a little further, as time permits, we will train on the other operations of the aircraft, such as search and rescue mission, hoist capabilities, and all those things. Did that answer your question, sir? Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, once again, Frank Baum, thank you for your service. Mike Willis, thank you for your service. To all the firefighters, of course, some are here with us, but across the state, volunteer, professional, thank you for all of your work to keep Colorado safe, our lives, our property. We look forward to doing everything we can to support your work. Thank you.